I wish we had a peaceful world, had a peaceful life, where everybody gets along. I wish we had a peaceful world, do whatever any wars there were.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. My dear sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I usually find that the most distracting element of any talk is the title that is given to that talk. Because sometimes you start, as it should be, to talk about what do you want to present in the talk. And after you define the parameters and say, we want to cover this, then you start looking for the title that will attract the people. And usually people look at one statement, one title at the top, and they judge, is it something that interests me, or is it something that is too complicated, or something that really doesn't matter. And because it was a 2-day notice, I have to say that we really quickly thought about a title that I have to start by telling you what you saw in the email and in the announcement for the talk is not what truly describes the content. And before I tell you what best clarifies what we really need to talk about, I would like to express my gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that in such a short notice we did amass such an audience to show that the subject matter we are going to discuss is of such an importance that even a 1-hour notice would have sufficed. What we are going to talk about, had it been 3 years ago, we would have looked at it as a kind of unwelcome, kind of suspicion that does not belong in a community that is always looking forward. What we are going to talk about are real challenges from within our community and from outside the community. And by mentioning this, I would like to start by the Quranic guidance that best describes these challenges. And this Quranic guidance is none other than the last ayah of Surah Al-Fath. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار. Now, this ayah, by the way, has nothing to do with what we are going to proceed with. Is an ayah that contains all the letters of the Arabic alphabet in this one ayah. That has nothing to do with what we want to discuss. But it starts by saying Muhammad and his companions. Does it? Does it? No. No. It doesn't say, it does not say Muhammadun wa ashabuhu. It does not say Muhammadun wa ashabuhu. It says Muhammadun Rasulullah walladhina ma'ahu. There's a difference. There's a difference. Because the word Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by definition, anyone who lived even part of the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even if someone was born 1 month before the death of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by definition is a Sahabi, is a companion. But this ayah talks about involvement, because وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ, those who are with him in the field, those who are with him, looking at things, living things, examining things, facing things together, making plans together, facing challenges together. And because of the dynamic description, it is dynamic. Because Muhammadun wa ashabuhu, it is very static. It's very static. But when you say وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ, now you are injecting dynamism. There's some kind of dynamic description to that. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala registered in the Quran. That together, they are so supportive of one another. They really extend hands, helping hands to each other. They dissolve their individuality in the communal spirit of the group. They do not look at the I and the me, but they look at the us. They look at the outcome of their being together. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. No one is going to attain genuine faith unless and until she or he likes for himself, herself, what she or he likes for the others. This is our destiny for being part of the Muslim community. I got the last email. It is very fresh. And it is a survey of the entire world. And it says, conflict, theology, and history, all these three big things, make Muslims more religious than any other community. And it talks about the elements. I'm not going to go into details, but we knew that. Now, it is through scientific research that they found that if you will get people from different religious backgrounds and measure their religiosity or their commitment to their deen, Muslims come on the top by far. And I knew that our reaction would be Alhamdulillah. I thought that it would be takbir, Allahu Akbar. But this is not what I'm asking for. Because we have been used to really feel so ecstatic when we are told, please wait after Jum'ah prayer, please wait after Isha, please wait after, a sister or a brother is going to give Shahada. We stand, and then after the Shahada, Takbir, Allahu Akbar, and then we hug and we squeeze, and then we go home. And then we continue despite our, who in the world, tell me, which church, which synagogue, which temple, which Gurdwara, which any of the places of worship see its adherents come 5 times every day. They drive from long distances to come and be together and pray together. That we do very well. But I submit to us that this is feeding that individual, partially communal spirituality, which is great. This is part of our Islam. But our Islam all the time, as the ayah of Surah Al-Fatih describes, it is part of our destiny that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, part of you being Muslims, I'm going to shortly after the passage of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not even the time of Uthman ibn Affan will come upon you and you will start to face big challenges. You are going to even look and say, why us? Why? During the Umayyads, during the Abbasids, during the other rulings that, or rules that came on the Muslims, until now, we haven't slept deeply and soundly because we've been facing challenges. We face big challenges. Big challenges. Some people take that as an indication why Muslims are in so much turmoil and trouble. Why is it us that are on the receiving end of technology and modern advancements? We are the ones who are in the back. We are living at times when our turn came, our time came, we are in the back. But there were others before us who, despite the challenges, were able to be in the front and prove themselves and do everything it takes to stay in the front and bring others with them. So our challenge now is to know how to turn the challenge into an opportunity. And this is the secret. To turn that which is hard on us to that which is working hard for us. So this is what we want to find out. To turn that which is hard on us to that which is hard working for us. Water, when left out of control, it can drown cities. It can cause havoc. It can destroy neighborhoods. We've seen what happened in Jeddah 2 years back and 4 years back. We've seen what happened in New Orleans. We've seen what happened in Haiti. We've seen what happened. But when water is channeled behind a dam and allowed to come out by control or under control, we can channel the energy of water to benefit us. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ. But it starts with وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you may dislike something, but Allah will place lots of goodness in it. You may like something which is bad for you. This is human nature. I always like to get that which looks good, which sounds good, which seems on the surface as attractive. But that which requires assembly before it looks good, I have no patience for it. Notice that here, most of the things that you want to buy and acquire, it comes in a box with a screwdriver and a wrench and screws and says it requires assembly. And even for kids, before they have that toy that they saw on the cover of that box, they were told it requires assembly. Oh no, do I have to wait now until... Yes, and you've got to learn how to put it together before you will enjoy how it works. Our Islam, before we enjoy how it will help us, we've got to assemble the elements, and we cannot just assemble part of it and assume that with the part we will be able to enjoy the all and the totality of the Islam. So far, brothers and sisters, I am not now assuming that I'm going to lecture my brothers and sisters, but we together have to understand that until now, we've been so good in part of our Islam. But there's still a lot that if we do not quickly bring it and assemble it, we know that as things age, they rust. And when they rust, you may have difficulty moving the screw through the opening that is made for that screw. And this is what happens as we age and we become tired, and as we become overwhelmed by the things that we need to assemble because we are being challenged big time. Then we may just put it aside and say, you know, there will be people after us who will come and, you know, al-baraki bil-shabab. And we keep saying, you know, notice that every generation, I've been hearing it from my father, who heard it from his father, al-baraki bil-shabab. Which shabab? We've seen that. We are shabab, but we'll say, inshallah, those who will come after us will be able to perfect that which we are unable to perfect. Now, let me say that our challenges, and let me start, from outside our community are not more serious than the challenges we are facing within the community. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that you've got to look at both of them together. أَشِدَّاءُ عَلَى الْكُفَّارِ رُحَمَاءُ بَيْنَهُمْ. Notice that there was no waw al-atf. أَشِدَّاءُ عَلَى الْكُفَّارِ وَرُحَمَاءُ بَيْنَهُمْ. It didn't say that. There's no waw al-atf because the waw will take too long to explain that these two are inseparable by a waw. They go hand in hand, they are together. أَشِدَّاءُ عَلَى الْكُفَّارِ رُحَمَاءُ بَيْنَهُمْ. There's no and. They are tough against the non-believers and they are merciful among each other. They help one another. Now, we tend to look first at outside and we say that, you know, we can always fix that which is inside. But ask anyone about, you know, how they really look at a structure as a whole. If you do not strengthen the foundations inside the house, there's no point in looking at the outside. Because if we look at the outside and we forget that we have to really, as we are looking outside to guard, we've got to look at the challenges from within our community. But let us, for the sake of interest, so that nobody will say, but I would like to know, what shall we do about Islamophobia? Because, Hajj Hashim, let's face it, you know, you mentioned Islamophobia, but before that, you were telling me we have a social committee and we are working together and we would like to know how we can maximize our efficiency. Because if there is a social committee
or community.
Or community. You know, what is a committee? A committee is something that is made of individuals, but once they come into a committee, they are not individuals anymore. Then we have to work. Last Saturday there was the bazaar. Now the bazaar, you know, unfortunately I could not come and attend, but I saw the footage that was on the website of the masjid. And it was so beautiful to see the Ethiopian and the Somali and the Sudanese and the Algerian and the Syrian and the Lebanese and the Pakistan, all of it saying we are together within the landscape of our masjid. As we enter the gymnasium, now we are one community under the roof of La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. Therefore, I'll just use one example, and now you will say, oh, somebody must have told him. Wallahi, Allah is my witness. I'm just using examples as I assume may be challenges for us. Did the Pakistani table make more? Or was it the Ethiopian table? Or did the Egyptians display on a bigger table than the Lebanese table? Or now, if we start to think that way, it means that we have a problem in working together as a community. And never should we. Look at this. You know, at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you know, there were people from the Ansar who belonged to different tribes from Medina and around Medina. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made sure that after his migration to Medina, that the Aus are no more Aus, the Khazraj are no more Khazraj, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came with the revelation, وَكُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَى حُفْرَةٍ مِّنَ النَّارِ فَأَنْقَذَكُم مِّنْهَا. It says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. You know what? If, as a Muslim community, we take these ayat that came for a specific reason that goes beyond asbab al-nuzul. You know, the Quran has asbab al-nuzul, the causes of revelation. But all the scholars of Quran say that the ayah of وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا, even though it came because of that Jewish man who brought the Aus and Khazraj and told them, look what Muhammad is doing, and all of that, you know, it says that it extends beyond the time of Aus and Khazraj, and it is applicable to all the times. But if we enjoy وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا as a calligraphy that we place on our walls, we have a problem with that. Brothers and sisters, you know, as Muslims, we've been raising slogans for a long time. And we've got to, you know, start to translate those slogans into real actions. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Anfal, وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا. And it came with a collective command. وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا. As a group. فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ. As a group. And even in the Fatiha, when we seek guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we seek guidance as a group. إِيَّاكَ أَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ أَسْتَعِينُ اهْدِنِ الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. I'm standing alone in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I'm reading even Dhuhr and Asr in a way that no one else is going to hear me. I'm saying it by myself. So why do I need to say إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ? Because I'm reminding myself that I am one among many. This is part of the ticket that is given to me and say, you are a Muslim. If you are a Muslim, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. It didn't say فَقُلْ لَا إِلَهَ. فَاعْلَمْ. It requires a widespread understanding of what does it entail. See, لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. 4 words. Try saying لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. In Arabic, every letter of La ilaha illallah is harf jawfi. Harf jawfi, which means it is coming from inside. Say. Let us hear it. La ilaha illallah. It all came from inside. Because when it comes from inside, it reflects that which is in the qalb, in the heart. You know what? La ilaha illallah is made of 12 letters. 12 months of the year. إِنَّ عِدَّةَ الشُّهُورِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ 12 شهرا. 12 months. Now, we understand that each one of those letters, when we say it, it's going to atone for 1 month of the year, inshallah. And you know, 4 of those letters, منها 4 حرم. 4 of the letters of La ilaha illallah, 4 of those 12 letters, Allah. منها 4 حرم. When you say them as part of La ilaha illallah, they are going to make it unlawful for your body to touch the hellfire. La ilaha illallah is more than just saying. It is living according to La ilaha illallah. And you know, when you add Muhammadun Rasulullah, these are 7 words. And you know, the gates of Jahannam are 7. Each one of those words will close a gate of Jahannam, so that when you say La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah, inshallah, these gates will be closed and you will not enter into Jahannam, you will enter into Jannah, inshallah. But it is more than just saying it. We've been saying it for a long time. It is time that we translate La ilaha illallah into action, and bring back the times, and I said it in plural, of the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Tabi'een. Why is it that we continue to teach about Malik ibn Dinar and Al-Hasan al-Basri and Tawus and Sufyan al-Thawri and Abdul Rahman ibn Auf and all of those big characters, and we have lost the hope that we can have another Malik ibn Dinar? You know, Malik ibn Dinar used to be a person that used to steal from people and commit all kinds of sinful acts. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened his heart to Iman, and all of a sudden he turned into Malik ibn Dinar. Suffice to say, he turned into a Malik ibn Dinar. Why is it that we continue to live our Islam alone? Why is it that we continue to suspect each other? Why is it that we continue to look at our Islam as something that comes through a tape, or through a group, or a subgroup, or an affiliation, or an ethnic background? You know what? When we will come to talk about the challenges from outside, and we realize that those who discovered our biggest aspiration, look at this, and I am saying this for the first time, and I want to be very careful in how I say it, because it took me a long time of observation, and many others must have made the same observation. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help me articulate that challenge, which we cannot downgrade or downplay or ignore. Those who knew that the Muslims have a big aspiration to achieve the freedom that was snatched away from them, they found, after long and long and long deliberation or deliberations, that perhaps we can initially help initiate their quest for freedom. And once they start seeking that freedom, while they are busy in getting that freedom, we can work with an undercurrent to undermine the outcome. We will never allow them in the end to attain that freedom that we have been seeking. God forbid that they will succeed, because if they do, then we will continue to raise the slogans, but we will be oblivious to that which is coming from underneath us. Yes, there are revolutions everywhere that we've got to help and support and work with, but we've got to be careful about the real threats that made use of that time. Because you know what? when you are busy with that which concerns you, it is very easy to come and try to encircle your aspirations and cut you off. This is now globally happening to us. They are having a conference now about Afghanistan. They want to decide what to do about Afghanistan that they've been for years suffocating and killing and squeezing and squeezing. And now they want to look like the ones who want to help Afghanistan. They are doing the same thing in Pakistan. They are doing the same thing in the Arab world. They are doing the same thing, or did the same thing in Kashmir. They are doing things all over the world so that eventually Muslims will be divided into cantons, into ghettos, into little groups. كل حزب بما لديهم فرحون. I just ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that their plan will not come to pass and it will not succeed. And I sure hope that we really rise above the emotions that have been holding us back. And that is why I said to myself, if I will just go and talk by touching the surface safely and make everybody excited and then go home, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to not be happy with the way we have dealt with the challenges. Therefore, I'm going to say it as I believe in it. The challenges that are facing us are turning us into emotional outbursts that are even now turning the outside challenge to fight within and among each other. Ask me about what is happening in the world today, and there are people who are supporting this part of the revolution and people who are supporting that part of the revolution, or that part of this or that part. We became political analysts, seeing things on the surface and analyzing things without being specialists in that which we need to gather from history, from theology, from sociology, from other kind of experiences and specialties. And that is why I say, let us bring our hearts back together and not suspect each other. We may disagree. What's wrong in disagreeing? What's wrong if I say I feel that this is happening in this way? I don't understand why it is happening that way. We talk, but not to the extent of saying, I know I'm right, you are wrong. If that was the case, then Abu Bakr and Umar would have been the worst enemies, because they used to disagree with each other about major issues. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed in Surah Al-Hujurat a warning to Abu Bakr and Umar. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله. Do not say things while Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is present in a way that will make you regret what you have said later on. Brothers and sisters, let us come back together. And let us work together by establishing a common understanding that if we disagree, that is not going to bring us apart, because we have difficulty coping with the etiquette of differences. You know, if our deen would have established for us that there is no room for disagreement in this deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have revealed a Quran that would have fixed every little detail. Even the Quran would have revealed whether you put your hands like this or like that in the Quran. It would not have left it to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to say, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. It would have said even at what time you pray Dhuhr and Asr. It would have even mentioned the details that nowadays there are people who are dismissing them and say, we are Qur'aniyin. Look, kalimat haq yuradu biha batil. When you say, we are Qur'aniyin, you know, when you hear, we are people of the Quran. But you know that this is kalimat haq yuradu biha batil. Because when you say we are Qur'aniyin, it means that we believe in the Quran, we don't believe in the hadith or the qiyas or in no analogy, no consensus, nothing. Just bring it to me. As we know the Qur'aniyin now are saying, show me where in the Quran does it tell you how to pray and where to pray and all of these. Therefore, I can pray with my heart. I can pray directly, you know, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't really need anyone to tell me. And that what they are trying. And they are saying now that the hijab of the Muslim woman is not a fard. And they are arguing. Show me where in the Quran. And then they are defining. Juyubihinna. No, this is this. This is that. It starts from here. It starts from there. It's you know. And they are going now into ilm al-kalam that has brought disaster to the understanding of Islam. And we know that there were many philosophical trends, you know, like al-Mu'tazila and many others that appeared among Muslims and separated Muslims, even to the extent that people like Ahmad ibn Hanbal and others, they had to be imprisoned because of an issue that shouldn't even be talked about, the creation of the Quran. You know, the creation, khalq al-Quran, should not have been talked about. But they started to talk and they engaged halaqat and conferences and why? Because they wanted to take the minds of the Muslims from that which is important and let them engage in less important things, as is happening to us today. Now, challenges from outside our community. So I summarize the solution to the challenges from within our community, you know, with one recipe. One recipe. على قلب واحد. That's all. Now, how easy or how difficult is it for us to dissolve ourselves in the group? Let me be open. And, you know, Brother Adib knows that we've known each other for 36 years. And I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. Why did I say Brother Adib? Because he is that chair of the board of the London Muslim Mosque. Not because of, you know, anything else. Let me say, so that I do not beat around the bush. If this same talk would have been tonight held at the Islamic Center, how many from those who are present here today, tonight, would have gone to the Islamic Center? There are people I know who say, no, we go to the masjid. We do not go to the center. We have our questions about the center. We are bringing history into the future, and we are still holding certain feelings. And we are separating our community along lines of center and masjid. You know, I'm asked this question quite often. You know, when people bring their classes and the thing, and I meet with them, and you know, they ask me, which place do you belong to? The one on Oxford Street or the one on Pond Mills? I say to both. So you mean you have membership in both? So I say, we don't have memberships as you have memberships in your churches. We have members of the Muslim community of London. And that is why when Sheikh Jamal Talib is with me, I always introduce him as the Imam of the London Muslim community. even though he is the Imam of the London Muslim Mosque, and I was by default being made the Imam of the Islamic Center, but when he is with me, out of respect, he is the Imam of the Muslim community. And I say it, you know, without saying, but what if people think now I am not the... So what? If I am searching for recognition, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will know that which is inside my heart. If this lecture tonight would be, now is it the center or the masjid who's going to get the recognition that it held such an important lecture? No, we're going to have it at the masjid. We're not going to have it this, we're not. Let us dissolve those differences to start with. Let us be a model community, a social committee of the London Muslim Mosque. If there's an activity at the center, you know what I would love? Even though now say, no, we're not going to do that. I would love the same sisters who organize the bazaar Saturday at the masjid to do the same thing at the center on Pond Mills. And I would like to see that all the activities now are mixed, and that inshallah, when there is Eid Salat, that we will pray in one place. That we will not say, oh, but how are we going to divide the zakat money between the Islamic Center or the masjid? How are we going to define who is going to pay? What if they pay more for this? And what if there's more membership for the masjid? What if there's a... Let us dissolve all of that. Let us just work together, and especially I say, not because the sisters really have more of a problem. No, not at all. Actually, Brother Adib mentioned right at the beginning that members of the community that are doing more work, or most of the work, are the sisters. And that is why, look sisters, you know, in Arabic, linguistically, when you use the male gender, you mean both males and females. It is known. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم. Can you continue please? ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكون. طب ليش؟ طب when we say لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم, doesn't that cover everybody, males and females?
Allah wants to specify.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to understand that there are certain things, because of the atifa, because of the emotional makeup of women, men may not feel inclined to engage in certain kinds of conversations and talks, but women do. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am going to stress وَلَا نِسَاءٌ مِّن نِسَاءٍ عَسَىٰ أَن يَكُنَّ خَيْرًا مِّنْهُنَّ وَلَا تَلْمِزُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَلَا تَنَابَزُوا بِالْأَلْقَابِ, and then it goes on and on. But it says that women actually are so important in the makeup of the network of Muslim society that if women do not take things seriously, everybody is going to suffer. Everyone is going to suffer. And that is why now, jumping to the challenges coming from outside, I'd like to say that, you know, this word, Islamophobia, is not a new phenomenon. It's a new word. It's a new word. But the phenomenon that we call by the word Islamophobia is old. And it started at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Islamophobia at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was widespread. But you know who carried the major portion of resisting Islamophobia and changing the current? Who did that? The men. The women were protected and the men were in the front, and they were dealing with Islamophobia, the men. Let me submit to us that now Islamophobia is being faced mostly by the women while the men are in the back. Today, our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, our wives are the ones who are carrying a flag wherever they go, or they are carrying a name tag wherever they go, and they say, I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. When are they carrying that tag, I'm a Muslim? They are carrying it and moving among 39% of people. This is the latest survey. I was so sad, but I mean, things are coming now gradually that the next one that comes with worse than the one before it, we are accustomed to that. But this is dangerous. This is very dangerous. The latest survey, 39% of Americans, not Canadians, but when we say Americans, we know that once things start in the USA, in no time, actually now with the Prime Minister who talks about Islamicism, it's in no time. And there are trends in Canada that will go to the States that they did not have in the States. Now, would you like to hear this? 39% of Americans surveyed said that they agree to place some kind of an identifying computer chip or something that will identify Muslims. So that wherever they go, they will see either a badge or some kind of a computer chip that will ring or something that says this is a Muslim. 39% of Americans said we have no problem with that because we need protection. We are afraid of Muslims. We are suffering of a disease called Islamophobia. You know, phobia means fear. We are afraid of Islam and Muslims. We are. And we cannot anymore, you know, just say, يا أخي معلش, you know, حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل, we are going to, yes, حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل, ولكن اعقل وتوكل. We cannot just walk in an area that has an epidemic and say, يا أخي مش رح يصير شيء. See, it's impossible. Again, you know, you go for Hajj and there is a mixture of viruses and bacteria. It's impossible not to come out without carrying something. It's impossible. Now, if we are going to say that يا أخي الحديث هلا ما صار في إن شاء الله ما بيصير شيء. We cannot anymore. We can't. You know, if we can, and that is why when Hajj Hashim said we really need to have that quickly. And the thing is, on a Thursday, for that many to come to hear something about what we're supposed to do is commendable. We've got to do something about Islamophobia. And Islamophobia now part of it will say, you know, people like G.J. Rancourt are the cause of Islamophobia. Now let us not be too judgmental, okay? Because when you hear that 30% of youth under 20 years of age in France are Muslim, 30% of those who are under 20 years of age in France are Muslim. In Marseille and Paris, this rises to 45%. When in Britain, in 1986, there were 82,000 Muslims. And in 2010, there are 2.5 million. And when in Belgium, 50% of newborn babies, 50% are Muslim. Which means this is non-Muslim, this is Muslim, this is non-Muslim, this is Muslim, this is non-Muslim, this is, which means that they are saying in no time, as many are propagating and telling the masses and the public that in no time we will be swallowed. Mark Stein, you know Mark Stein? The one who wrote his 22-page article in Maclean's magazine and said, beware of Muslims who reproduce like mosquitoes. And he said in no time they are going to take over Canada as we know it. Now when people are going to hear that, they will be terrified. So don't blame them unless, you know what? Unless if you come and say, you know what? I'm going to do the landscaping in your garden and I'm going to use a variety of bluegrass that if you will put it in these portions, within 10 days, it will spread and it will cover the entire lawn. You will say, I love bluegrass. I love bluegrass. But if you say, you know what? You will have to deal with dandelion in your front yard because in London you cannot use pesticides or you cannot use, you know, any kind of chemicals. So you've got to deal with dandelion by removing them mechanically. You know, that's why you see during the summer people who have nothing better to do than to have special instruments from Canadian Tire plucking out dandelion. And that's what people are trying to do. They want to pluck out Muslims from among themselves. Because when they hear that a masjid is going to be built in our neighborhood, you know what? Everyone will come out to the meeting of the municipality to say, no, we don't want a masjid. And we know that there are many examples. Many examples. And last Monday or last Saturday or Sunday in Hamilton, they brought, you know, a very offensive cartoon threatening Muslims, and they put it on the door of the masjid in downtown Hamilton. You know, Sister Inas Qadri, in 2010 at Sheridan Mall, she had her niqab with her 2 children. She was attacked by a woman simply because she had her niqab. Now, Inas Qadri, very dignified, very gracious, when the judge passed his judgment, she did not say, but this is not fair, they should have put her behind bars, and because they just charged that woman and they convicted her, and that judgment was 100 hours of community service. And she said, I'm going to outreach and I'm going to invite her to come to my house to learn about Islam. Wouldn't that, I mean, this is, we should all become Inas Qadri. Because you know what? You know what? And now some people will be, don't be a pacifist. Don't be another Gandhi. You know, Gandhi fought the British occupation by pacifism. Now, Islam does not teach if someone hits you on your cheek, turn the other cheek around. No, Islam says, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ وَمِنْ رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ. Islam says you've got to be strong, facing your enemy. But as you are strong, as you are firm, you have to continue to invite them بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, with wisdom and good advice, and bring them to the fold of Islam. How? Maybe by parking in their driveway. Maybe by blocking their driveway on Friday. Maybe by, you know, coming at Fajr time to the masjid, and, you know, as you walk to your car, you are talking as if it is 10 o'clock in the morning. Maybe, in certain communities, you know, there are so many things happening that people are saying, we cannot stand those Muslims. But in other communities, very few, unfortunately, there are people who say, we don't want those Muslims to move anywhere. You know, in Germany, one Turkish sister, again, our women are at the forefront. You know, one Turkish sister was able to bring an entire block into Islam because of her behavior. She used to go and offer babysitting. She used to go and offer to help in cleaning. She used to give sweets on occasions. People say, it's impossible. So everybody became friends with that Turkish woman. And by being friends, they started to, and you know what, wallahi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a deen. He said, you know what, either take it and use it, or take it and put it on your wall to decorate your wall, or take it and put it on the shelf and let the dust accumulate, or take it and immediately conceal it, or take it and throw it away, or run away from it. You can do anything you want. لا إكراه في الدين. وَقُلِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this is the deen. Take it or leave it. You know, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, He gave us so many things in our deen that, you know what, if you do not want to become a scholar and share your scholarship with people, then all you have to do is clean that inside called an-nafs. You know, show me in any one of the 66 books of the Bible where it talks about the nafs, a concept of an-nafs. Yet, you know what? We find among Christians people who are better behaved than many Muslims. All that they are lacking is La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. And whose mistake is it? Our mistake. If they do not say it, it's our mistake. If they see Muslims violent, angry, take to the street, do this, do that, while they are handling things nicely and quietly and you know, especially I'm seeing you know, doctors in the audience, and I know that they can relate to it. I relate to it. I know that it happens. You know something, that exceptional, difficult patient has to be a Muslim. If you do not do exactly what they expect, they just go in a rage. And you know that poor receptionist sitting there, you know, they will go and call the doctor, who is a Muslim, and say, you know, can you please come and deal with the issue, but we don't know what has happened. Why? Why do we have to do that? When every little behavior we make just says, I'm a Muslim. So I say to the sisters, please, when you will walk, wherever you go, let it be known that every word you say, every gesture you make, every behavior, everything you do, you are saying it in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, you are speaking on my behalf. And that is why, look, what does Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim mean? In the name of Allah, the All-Merciful. I am doing what I'm doing, I'm saying what I'm saying, I'm in the name of Allah. But more visibly, our sisters are saying, we are the ones who are doing it, despite people calling us names, despite, you know, the person who followed one of our sisters to the elevator and attacked her in the elevator, despite the fact that our wives, the mothers, are finding difficulty with their daughters who are saying, no, I don't want to put it on because you know, such and such happened to my friend and nobody helped her. Or we've got to give support. We've got to bring out ideas in order for us to now face the challenge. Now, if I gave if I gave, the recipe of qalb wahid, to be together if we are within our community. Outside, I will say, behave with the manners of Islam. That's what I say. If you behave with the manners of Islam, you will be able to face Islamophobia. Now, Sister Shireen asked me, please tell us about the best ways to face Islamophobia. And I say, Sister Shireen, the best way to face Islamophobia is the way of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because when he went to At-Ta'if and he faced a horrible display of Islamophobia to the point that he started to bleed, and he was given the opportunity to revenge. He turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he said, إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ بِكَ غَضَبٌ عَلَيَّ فَلَا أُبَالِي. Let us all say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us find out, is Islamophobia a manifestation of anger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Could we have been doing things that are making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upset with us, and that is why He is imposing this on us? وَلَا تُصَلِّتْ عَلَيْنَا بِذُنُوبِنَا مَنْ لَا يَخَافُكَ فِينَا وَلَا يَرْحَمُنَا. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make in his dua, وَلَا تُصَلِّتْ عَلَيْنَا بِذُنُوبِنَا مَنْ لَا يَخَافُكَ فِينَا وَلَا يَرْحَمُنَا. Oh Allah, do not bring upon us those who do not fear you and will not have mercy on us because of our sinful acts and our mistakes. Let us ask ourselves, how many of us are really holding the manners of Islam wherever we go? You know what? There are some dangerous elements of Islamophobia. So for Abu Jahl, we have the equivalent in Frankfurt. For Abu Lahab, we have the equivalent in Franklin Graham or Jimmy Swaggart or Geert Wilders. In the likes of Abu Sufyan ibn Harb, we would like to look for those, is it, let's say, could it be Salim Mansour? That we can, turn into another example of success that Sufyan ibn Harb became. Abu Sufyan ibn Harb used to fight Muslims, even though he was related to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he became a Muslim. Could we make dua? Do we find it in our heart? Do we find a room in our heart to make dua for Salim Mansour? Or what's his name in Toronto? Tariq Fatah. Many will say, except those. Right, Muhammad, you're saying that. I can see it on his face. Okay. No. We are not going to lose hope about anyone. And by the way, these people are doing lots of damage. I see these are just, wallahi, little bit of, when Tariq Fatah heard of the bankruptcy of the Sharia compliant bank in Toronto, he wrote an article to say, see, I told you, this is the horrible manifestation of Sharia. When Mustafa Abdul Jalil opened his mouth in Libya and said, we are going to rule according to our Sharia, he wrote another article and said, those, be careful about the Muslims because they are going to use Sharia. Now, by the way, It is people like that. It is people like that. You know, again, what's his name? Rahil Raza. Rahil Raza. I couldn't believe he stood side by side by Mr. No, I don't want to say Mr. By Rancourt, and he used 4-letter words against Islamic concepts like Sharia and Jihad. Sharia and Jihad. Now mention the word Sharia now. Now how many Muslim leaders feel politically correct and comfortable and courageous in a general public meeting to glorify Sharia by talking about it? Now, many now are gearing away. They don't want to talk. So that, yeah, we don't want people to misinterpret what we say. Now, Sharia became a liability. And that's what they want to do. You know what? The all-American Muslim program that now our children are crazy to watch. You know why they had this program? Because many people, I was told, came to the Muslims and they said, oh, you know, we never knew that you are like us. You can swear. So they were happy with them. You can swear. So you are like us. Let us not be taken by such productions that aim at portraying Muslims to be like us, like them, so that everybody will say, especially our children, so why are you holding us back? Why? We've got to, I know, said 3 hours or?
Okay.
Not yet? Okay. No. Wallahi, it is a major, real challenge that we are facing, that we cannot anymore leave to lectures. So the final things before your comments or questions, I would like to say Allah is my witness. Allah is my witness. Allah is my witness. That what I said was not meant to be a talk. Because if it is meant to make us feel that, well, what else do you want us to do? We talked about it. We had a lecture at the London Muslim Mosque. And then we went home. We've got to, again, work together. Let's try to find out, let's have a meeting of all the committees of the London Muslim Mosque and see how can we bring the committees of the Islamic Center. And you know what? And this is where I want to bring it again and again and again. I proposed it before, and we said, let us do something about it. And this is the time to re-initiate it. You know what I would love to see? I would love to see, you know, one board to run all the center, masjid, Bosnian masjid, you know, to run all of them together and establish a waqf that owns everything, and then we work together with all our resources. Let there be one of the standing committees to bring the human resources of the community together. Because I've spoken to many doctors who say, no. You want money? I will give you money, but please keep us out of it. Why? Because they said we don't want the headache. And you know what? When the time comes to elect members of the board, how many people attend the Akhyadi? 20 out of a community of thousands. The same thing happens at the center. The same thing. And I would like to say, you know what? معلش, can I say it? Okay. الشعب يريد تغيير النظام. Okay. No, I say it is time that we come together and we develop committees that are going to make same activities, bring people together, define resources, define what we can do, and inshallah, we will be able to clean things inside our home and try to go outside and persevere. Ma'alish, we need sabr. So let us teach our children, and I would express, I'm really happy that there are many young university students present, more among the females than the males, but I would like to ask you if Brother Adib, this is what I'm going to ask, that if with your leadership we can bring the MSA and MAC and MILE and all the organizations in London and rent the alumni hall at Western and have a town hall meeting to discuss what we discussed here, but to everyone, and on the spot we will have a planning committee that would prepare plans for members of the audience to come and take challenge of the social front, the unifying front, the Islamophobic front, the marriage front, the all the different problems. And we say, now, take it, and we are going to meet in 6 months, inshallah. Now, I know it's a big, big challenge, but unless we come up with those big things to affect a change, we will stay where we are. I apologize for being blunt, but I know I'm talking to brothers and sisters, and I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us purify our niyyah before anything else. Because if our niyyah is not clean, we can talk until Fajr, and nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. Wallahi, nothing will happen. إنما الأعمال بالنيات. So let us do something like that, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. If there are any questions, any comments, anything, and I again repeat, I would love to see that we have a town hall meeting where we bring the young people. Why is it that we continue to work as MSA and MAC and Center and Masjid and Bosnia and there's nothing, people ask me, let us unify dissolve them under one. No, we don't need. Let the Center stay as a Center, let MAC stay as a MAC, let MILE stay as MILE, let everybody stay as they are. But you know what? Let there be a coordinating body of leadership that will coordinate the activities of the community, of the entire community, and let us have a waqf, an endowment fund, so that we will stop having fundraising. We will stop having, we don't want fundraising. Let us raise funds to have townhouses, apartment buildings, make money to support the projects of the community, so that we will pay our teachers the 50,000 and the 60,000 that they deserve, instead of 20,000 and 30,000. Or no, we want to do something. And you know what? If only 20 people come to the meeting of the General Assembly, we will not be able to do it. Jazakumullah khair. Yes.
We just can do something starting today, like ongoing meetings. It's a wonderful idea. It's a wonderful dream. Inshallah, one day we will reach it. But we don't want to leave today without...
MashaAllah. Let us have a steering committee to translate what I said into an action plan. Is that fair? Just to, as a first step, to say what was said at this talk, let us now have a steering committee, and let us say inside our community, we resolve that we are going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you may disagree with what I said and try to propose something else, and then you know what? We may have another meeting like this before we will launch the town hall meeting that we will invite all the community, and we will spend 2 months calling people and say, this is it. This meeting is different from any other meeting. We are going, everybody, nobody is allowed to stay at home. Everybody is going to come out. And then we will start working, inshallah. So would you like to, since Sister, would you like to chair this steering committee? And I propose, so that, you know, since the sisters are the ones who initiated the idea. Okay, I propose, you know, we have the tendency usually, the minute we say, you know what? At the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to say, you are like that. And they say, okay, sam'an wa ta'a. Okay, now, I know that you are very busy. I know it. Okay, but for results to happen, ma'alish. We need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to inject barakah into our time. Unless you want to delegate it to someone who say, I will do it, you know, instead of Shireen, that's fine. But I looked at Shireen because you are the one who initiated the idea. So would you accept to be chairing us? Please, you stand and do it.
Anybody, can one of you be the chair of that committee? You. No, wallah, I swear. You know, we'll be there. I will be more than happy to be a member, very active member, and help. But we'd love to have new people, new faces. We'll be there working together. The young generation, and we'll be there. I will take it for now, but we're gonna vote. We're gonna work with something because I want new faces.
Okay. We would like to have at least 7 people on this committee to put it together. Would there be 6 other people who would like to say, I know enough to contribute? And you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a shahid. If you have something, and you, Sister Ikram, okay, so.
But we have a wonderful lady here who's gonna, you know, lead the committee. Could you please stand up? Because the rest of you need to know. Please.
I think a lot of people want to help like you, but like I don't. They want to talk to you one-on-one after.
Okay. But
little
yeah.
Sister Zib al-Hashimi here, I don't know what it is.
Me?
Sister Zib al-Hashimi.
Ziba, is Ziba here? Yeah, if she's here, actually, you know, I would suggest you approach her. Ziba Hashmi.
Yes.
Okay, she is, mashallah, a very wonderful Hassan.
Okay. Dr. Munir,
Now.
I recommend the brother Muhammad also from the side, and someone from the MAC also, just to start gathering.
Okay, now,
Because we don't have a lot of...
what I'm proposing, you know what I suggest? You know, he has a great idea. You know, I see also Ukht Hisham present here. You know, what can be a great idea is to approach all the existing organizations in town and say, we have now a job that we have to do, and we need one capable leader representing your institution. Okay, so from At-Taqwa, from London Muslim Mosque, from London Islamic School, from the center, so we are asking you to be in charge of this committee, that you assemble this committee within 10 days, inshallah. You call for a meeting, and I suggest that if the DVD becomes available yesterday, you can give it to Sister Shireen, and inshallah you can listen to it again. And please, by no means this is only the standard of what you're going to put, but it can be, you know, a guideline basically. And let us put an action plan to revive. You know, there's the Reviving Islamic Spirit Now conference, and you know, 10 years ago it was an idea a few people in a car were discussing. Now look at Reviving Islamic Spirit, 20,000 people attend, and mashallah, they're doing a wonderful job. Now let us translate tonight's ideas into reviving the Muslim community of London. You know what I would like? I would like to see an annual conference for Southwestern Ontario, whereby we will have major speakers come. You know, there are many people from Southwestern Ontario who would like, and we can really revive our spirit. We can have workshops, we can have many other things that we can contribute, but we need an action plan. So you're in charge, Shireen, and inshallah you approach all the organizations and form that committee. Yes?
So make a very quick suggestion, case for your recommendation. The fact of Islamophobia is real, as you mentioned, and I mentioned to Brother Adib, and I'm going to describe it again so many times, that it's easy to build a mosque, but it's really difficult to build a community. You have said some wonderful stuff, and I hope we act upon it. And we are up to the point that really we cannot afford to turn our eyes. So can I suggest this to the board or to the mosque, that we should make committees so each time we see something, a letter or a topic, which misrepresent, let's say, honor killing or Sharia or something like that, we as a community should respond to it. I can write, he can write, you can write, get it to the committee, approve it quickly, and send it to
It's a great idea. In Toronto, they made a hotline where everybody that is part of an Islamophobic experience would call that line and would register or would communicate through email, and there is a committee that is responding to those actions. And let us ask the steering committee to make this as part of the work that is to be done from now on, inshallah. Well, yeah. Any سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
This life is so wonderful, it is so short, why waste it on fighting and hating? This life is so precious, this world is so